Hello everybody, today is a pretty exciting day. This is the first LEP torch that I have the privilege of reviewing. This is the Nextorch L10 Max, 1200 meters, runs off a 21700 battery. Now I've never used an LEP flashlight before, so I'm really excited to see how this turns out. I've been curious to see how they work as well. I've read about them, but I've never actually used them myself, especially because they're quite a new technology, meaning that they're more pricey at the moment. I think the cheapest one you can get is about $100 to $150. This one retails for about $200 to $300 Australian. So that's about the price range in an entry-level LEP. So this one, as you can see, throws 1200 meters. That's really incredible for such a small flashlight. I can't wait to actually get this out of the box and do some beam shots, see how it actually throws. And the most exciting thing is that I've seen a bunch of reviews showing that it actually throws a lot further than 1200. It's up to 1500 or so meters. So it looks like Nextorch is into the practice of under-promising and over-delivering. So let's have a look at the box now. That's as you can see, a pretty basic box, nothing special about it. It's got Type-C. It doesn't mention anything about laser on here, so it's just mentions white light emitter. This might be due to customs. Maybe it's, if it had laser on it, it might be a little bit more difficult getting it through. But it's basically a system that converts the laser light into visible white light. So quite safe to look at with the naked eye. I mean, up close, it's like with any flashlight. If you've got it too close to you and you're looking at that hotspot, it's going to hurt your retinas. So wouldn't recommend that. But, it's good to know that it doesn't have any dangerous laser energy coming out. And you can see here it's Type-C charging port as well, so pretty modernized. I like that. It makes it easy to bring along with you wherever you go and get it charged up. You only bring any special chargers. 4 modes, so apparently it's got a high mode, medium mode, low mode, and a strobe. 21700 cell, which the one they've included is 4800 milliamp hours, so that's going to last you quite a while. Bit of statistics down at the bottom here. 400 lumens, maximum runtime 10 hours. That's on low, and on high I think you've got, 4 hours and 30 minutes on high. So 400 lumens doesn't really sound like much, but when you focus all those 400 lumens into a tight space, that's when you get that amazing throw. It's also got some standard water resistance and shock resistance ratings, so 1 meter each. And also has some Candela readings, 360,000 Candela. Now this is interesting because the review that I saw online, and there's a couple of videos on YouTube about these as well. There was one review that got up to 600,000 Candela, which is amazing. That's around the same territory as my Convoy L8. So this is what's included in the package. So we've got a USB Type-C charger. We've got a lanyard. That's good. We've got the flashlight itself here. Let's just put that flat on the table. And we have a cell, the Nextorch cell. It looks like it's a protected cell as well. So interesting, 4800 milliamp hour cell. And with the draw of this flashlight, you're not going to need a high-powered, high draw battery, I should say. So even if you had something like a 30T or 40T, I don't think it would make a difference, but I will try that out later and see anyway if we can squeeze a bit of extra brightness out of there. And you can see here there's also some spare O-rings, and there's a little manual. Let's show about the manual and see what it says in here. So yeah, just really some basic specifications. You've got the different modes: high, medium, low, strobe mode. It's got the run times. It's got the beam intensity as well. One of the good things about this torch is that it comes with a 5-year warranty. I do notice a lot of manufacturers actually doing this these days, and probably getting more sales from that as well. It's well, it makes sense. I mean, you should have confidence in your product, and it should last for a significant period of time. So okay, so this is what the flashlight looks closer up. And I am really impressed at the anodizing. It's like a smooth matte finish anodizing. tube makes this sort of pinging noise when you flick it. I like that recessed button as well. It's a very simple design. I do wish it had a clip on it though, but at least it comes with a lanyard. The interesting thing about this light is that you need to press and hold the button about a second to turn it on. Certainly wouldn't want this to turn on in my pocket. You can also mechanically lock the flashlight just by turning the tail cap a 1/8 turn. No button on the tail cap. There's just that side switch there, and you've got the model number. You've got the USB-C charging port here with a nice little cover. I like that that action there. It's yeah, it feels quite sturdy. I think that's important because you don't want any water to get in there and stuff up the electronics. There's these little cooling fins that are cut into the side of the flashlight to increase surface area. That's done pretty well. It doesn't look like I can unscrew it and do the top. They probably just made it difficult to get into this light so that people can't mess around with it and break it. So I don't know, for those of you who maybe want to have a look inside or modify it, you're gonna have to find a way to do it, whether you heat it up or who knows. So let's take that tail cap off and just move away some of these accessories. Okay. Alright, so you got a spring on both ends. Simple tail cap, as you can see here. So the threads are not square cut, as you can see, but there's a generous amount of thread on there. So, and they've been anodized as well. And the battery is a little bit longer than usual. I mean, comparing this to my Samsung 40T, you can see it's just slightly longer. Slightly longer, but it does work with unprotected cells like this one as well. So it's good to know that you can use whatever batteries that you want in there. But nice and smooth sort of action there. Okay, it's got a nice, really nice weight to it. Balanced well too. You can see it's kind of, the middle point's roughly about here on the flashlight. Okay. So it looks like you kind of hold the button down to turn it on. Okay, great. And then there's 3 modes: medium, low, strobe. And then it just cycles through high, medium, low, and strobe again. If you want to turn it off, you press and hold. So press and hold that button to turn it on and off. And you're certainly not going to be confused with the modes in there. I don't think you really need too many of them as well, given that it's a specialist sort of flashlight. So you can see the lens a little bit up close. It's a convex lens that sits directly on top of the LEP module. Yeah, I wish I could open it up to have a look at it, but I think it's going to be quite difficult to unscrew it. It looks to be glued, feels like it's kind of glued on. But so far, I am really impressed with the build quality. I wasn't expecting this nice level of anodization. It's a simple, sort of inconspicuous design as well. It feels like I'm holding something that's quite sturdy and almost like a professional tool rather than a flashlight. So here it is compared to a few other flashlights that I own, and you can see it's not any wider than most of them, but it certainly is a little bit longer. I think that's to house the LEP module and also that lens in the front. Otherwise it'd probably be the same length as, say, the SP35, but it's certainly suitable for EDC carry. I mean, it's not as small as the Sofirn SC31, but it's amazing that this flashlight can throw 1.5 kilometers and still basically fit in your pocket. It's not that much bigger than the SP35. It's mainly just that lens on the front. Alright, so I'm going to be doing a bunch of tests on this flashlights. I'll be doing some beam tests, some lux tests, testing the color temperature of this flashlight and also the throw. So let's go ahead and see what this pocket rocket can do. Alright, I am at a little overlook here in a train yard, train area, train tracks, and you can see over there we have the Docklands and big Ferris wheel going around. We've got the Nextorch L10. I'm going to pop this straight onto turbo, and you can see that beam already in the sky. Look at that. Up ahead here, you've got a little bit of it on the tracks, but you can see it very, very clearly up near. You've got a kind of reflective material up in the distance there as well, but look at that. Actually, it actually can touch that Ferris wheel, and it's highlighting some reflective bits of glass or something on the Ferris wheel itself. It's a little bit tricky to see at the moment. It would look a lot better if there weren't any of these work lights everywhere. Alrighty, welcome back. I want to talk about some observations and some of the things that I liked about this flashlight. So first of all, just want to say that this is the most fun that I've ever had with a flashlight. I don't know what it is. I thought with LEPs was something impractical or something that I didn't need, but I always find myself opening my balcony door just to shoot it out every now and then. It shocks me with how far this thing throws, and I love that you can see the beam so clearly in the night sky. I know for some people, a light with enormous throw and little spill might be impractical, but just for the fun and coolness factor alone, this light has gained a spot in my top 5. You can easily fit it in your pocket at 15.5 centimeters and a head diameter of 3.5 centimeters, probably on the high end there. You don't want anything bigger than that. And given if you're not wearing tight jeans, this will definitely fit in your pocket fine. A clip would have been nice, but it does come with an adjustable lanyard. I find this light is quite useful if you pair it with a set of 10 by 25 binoculars, especially when you're using it at night. It's great for spotting even at the lower modes. So going back to the throw, it hits almost 1.5 kilometers. I think that's amazing for a little flashlight that you can fit in your pocket. If If you look back 5 to 10 years ago, something like this would have been unthinkable. It also throws roughly the same distance as my Convoy L8, which is 3 times larger. Of course, the Convoy L8 or any of these SBT90 flashlights, they're larger and they produce a lot more lumens, but having a small light like this that throws a pencil beam of that distance is really impressive. Another thing that I liked about this light is the value. Most LEPs are around $300 plus. I think it's excellent value for an LEP light around the $150 to $200 range. It outperforms the Phoenix TK30 and also the Welltool W3 Pro. Both of those throw at 1,200 meters and cost between $270 to $300. So you're getting good bang for buck there. It's got a small head so you can carry it around with you easily and still get some practical run times on high mode. There are a few smaller LEPs out there like the Lumentop Ant-Man, you've got the Thor 1, but they do run on smaller 18350 and 14500 cells and have reduced throw and lumen figures. Great little bonus about this flashlight is that it outperforms the spec sheet. I used my Opple Light Master Pro to measure the lux and convert it to Candela, and I got 447,125 Candela. That was 5 meters from the sensor on high. I actually had to wear my sunglasses indoors to run this test because after a while it was just hurting my eyes to look at the spot on the wall. So it's definitely not an indoor light unless you pop it down to the low modes. But then again, this is a very specific use flashlight. I like that the light has a 21700 cell, just extends that runtime without adding too much bulk onto the flashlight. It also comes with USB-C charging and a nice little waterproof cover here as well. So especially if you're taking this thing traveling with you and you don't have an external charger, you've got that convenience right here. Nextorch is a brand that I've only heard of recently, but they're certainly a reputable brand that supply flashlights for law enforcement, so they need to be fit for duty. The L10 Max has high quality construction, really good anodization. You can see here it's just this nice smooth anodization, and it looks and feels like a premium light. Got that standard 6061 T6 aluminium alloy. The switch is sturdy, made of some type of rubber or silicon, and it does have a solid click when you press it. Kept this light in a bag filled with a bunch of other lights as well and had them knocking up against each other, and I can't see a scratch on this flashlight. I do like to look after my lights, but also I don't want to baby them as well, so I think having some type of general durability like that is really important. In terms of improvements and considerations, it took me a little bit of time to get used to the UI. So in order to turn on and off the light, you actually have to hold that switch for 2 seconds, and it always starts on high mode. The pros of this type of UI is that you don't need to have an additional lockout mode. It's unlikely, given how sturdy this switch is, that it'll be accidentally pressed in your pocket. Like I mentioned before, the light always starts on high mode when you press and hold that switch from off. For me, I prefer if it actually had that usual double click to get into high and maybe a click to turn off again. It just makes the whole on and off process a lot faster. But again, I think it's quite handy that it stops that flashlight from turning on in your pocket. You can also loosen that tail switch as well to mechanically lock the flashlight. In summary, the Nextorch L10 Max is my first LEP flashlight, and I have to say this thing is amazing. This has got to be the coolest stealth thrower that I have. Found before, I was just justifying to myself why I didn't need one. I really think LEPs are the most fun you can get out of torches. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Also check out the link in the description if you're interested in buying one. If you found this video helpful, I'd appreciate if you click the like button, and remember to subscribe if you want to see more reviews.